had to speak a lot of Kikuyu. But even with Gofu, wouldn't you agree 50-50?
Yeah,
Kikuyu, English.
Kikuyu and English.
Yes.
Yeah.
But does Gofu know Kikuyu? I'm just asking because his cousin OneMic. Sorry.
Oh,
Go on.
Anyway,
So 50-50. So that means Kiswahili doesn't feature.
I don't even know Swahili. You know, I will say that and people on Facebook and YouTube are gonna literally swallow me alive, but I don't know Swahili.
But when you say you don't know Swahili, you mean you did not attend a Kenyan education system?
I did. I actually went to one of the prestigious girls' schools in Kenya.
And they
Kauhia
did,
girls,
and they
to
didn't
be
do Kiswahili.
precise. We were taught Swahili, but
Yeah.
you have to understand, I am from Muranga. I grew up in the village. I'm a very proud village girl. I went from standard 1 to grade 8, I went to a village school. So it was primarily Kikuyu. That's our language. That's our mother tongue.
But they taught Swahili.
No, they taught Swahili and Kikuyu.
They didn't really teach the Swahili that people speak, the Swahili sanifu. I know, like, nipatie maji.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really gossip about me. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But then also, we both came here when we were very young.
And you cannot enforce. I've seen this thing where parents try to enforce our standards, but you can offer. In my wife and me and my wife, we talk about this. We have given our kids all the tools. Where we come from, our culture, language, food, music. We can only teach them. I cannot force them to be. Remember, 80% of their time, they are where?
They're in school.
I'm wondering with my children, very few, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's almost, and there's another thing. Our children sometimes feel like when we say they need to be African, it's like we're telling them, is their American side not good enough?
We hosted your daughter Rehema a year ago on her experiences growing up in a Kenyan household in the US. Now, just pick one big aha moment that you picked up that you were unaware of before the recording of that episode last year because you were listening. Ginda?
Yeah. We were listening. I was fully tuned in. And I think for me, the biggest aha moment was, and I know we will dive deeper into it, but for me, it was the impact of bullying.
Okay.
I knew that she had mentioned something to do with bullying. I know we had talked about it, but I actually didn't know how deeper and how much of an emotional toll it had taken on her.
Okay.
So that took, that was a real aha moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you knew that there was bullying in school, but you did not understand the depth of the bullying as she described it last year.
Exactly. We knew that we have a very open communication with our children. Kehanya, who's the oldest, he's 23. Rehema is 20. And little Zoe, who's 9. But I believe we have a very open communication. But I also feel like as an immigrant, when a child is saying to me, Mom, there's some bullying going on. Mom, somebody said this and this about me being an African.
Yeah.
I don't think I personally am guilty of not taking things deeply. I do take things literally, like, yeah, we are from Africa. What's the big deal?
Okay.
But not knowing that actually that child is crying saying, I'm being bullied because I'm being told I'm African. I'm being told I'm different. So listening to that was very emotional. We did a lot of soul searching to try and figure out, for me, like, why did I miss this? I believe that I'm open. I believe we talk all the time. And I had to realize it has a lot to do with me, with my upbringing, where I'm coming from.
Okay. Yeah, and it's fair enough because you know what you know at that particular time. And of course, through experiences, we get to know other things. I want to come to now Baba Rehema, karibu sana tena. Now, what on that, especially on that, not necessarily on the bullying aspect, but just on the episode overall, was there any big aha moments that you had while you were listening to that episode last year?
Yeah, excuse me. I think I was very surprised by, excuse me.
Okay. You need...
Kunywa maji.
Somebody
Kunywa maji.
imagine.
Kunywa maji.
Okay.
Anyway, I think I was very surprised by. Oh my God.
Eh?
It sounds like he's even surprised about being here.
Okay.
No, it's my voice. Anyway, I was very surprised that the language,
Okay. We're gonna.
Let's go with mom.
Yes, we are gonna come back. Yeah, we're gonna come back to you. But mom, another thing that that also came out on the episode is that Rehema did not know that Ali Kiba was not Kenyan. Yeah, she's listening to Kenyan music at home.
Yes.
But she did not know that Ali Kiba was not Kenyan.
Okay.
So did that come as a surprise, or was that something that you knew?
Well, what am I gonna say? When Mike Ali, I didn't know he wasn't Kenyan either.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know.
Right.
We love his music. I never actually thought, like, where is this guy from?
Yeah.
So that day,
Yeah.
when I was listening to you guys, I looked at Baba Hanya and I was like, wait, where is he from? And he looked at me like, what are you talking about? And I said, I had no idea he wasn't Kenyan.
So you were in the same WhatsApp group as Rehema.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
And they say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
yes.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I
Okay.
didn't know.
Yeah. On that note, I'm gonna take this opportunity to let One Mic talk to us, introduce himself to the guest this week. Bado hajaongea. Uno Mike.
Karibuni wapendwa wachangiaji. Imodia milifanya kazi, niko sawa, niko fiti kabisa. Yes, I'm glad these two, I'm really happy that these two it has been a struggle trying to get them here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be talking opposites. It has been hard trying to convince Geda to convince Gofu to come here.
Okay.
And I'm talking in opposites.
Yeah.
You sure about that?
I am telling you.
Yeah.
I said I'm talking in opposites. It has been hard trying to convince Geda to convince Gofu to come here.
Yeah.
I'm talking in opposites, but I'm so happy it has been in the works. In fact, I was telling them, I was waiting for Geda to arrive. Then I will know we have a show.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, sorry. I was waiting for Gofu to arrive so that we know we have a show. Now we have a show.
Okay.
Karibuni sana.
Karibu.
Thank you.
Yeah. Baba Hanya, is that true?
Yeah, well, yeah. My wife has not been cooperative on this, but we are here.
Okay.
Sorry, I lost my voice. I don't know what happened, but I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I think we want to move. I'm not sure whether Mika is tuned in today. Okay. All right.
Mika Och.
Yeah.
Where is Mika? Is Mika there?
Yeah, I think Mika is off. I think he's absent without
apology.
But we will sort that later.
I think our HR department needs to be fired.
Okay. Sawa
Jerry
sawa.
Tabitha, wewe you're fired.
Okay. And on that note, DJ Omosh Fire.
Why I say.
Karibu sana. What do you expect from tonight's episode?
I expect that after the show is over, Rehema will be looking for a mwiko. But I think we'll get to learn things that we thought we knew that we did not get to know from Rehema, or maybe the things that she held back on. That subsequent, because after that show, I'm sure there was a conversation. I'm sure there was a family meeting, and there was a conversation. There was crying. There was laughter. Maybe there was a check that was written for pain and suffering. And now the paros are here to tell us we went wrong over here. Maybe we should have had pajama parties and, been less, what is it called? Strict.
Yeah.
And also more open to letting the kids not come with us to those parties that went on until Asubuhi. I don't know. Well, let's see.
Okay. All right. Asante sana, DJ Mosh Fan. I can see Wairimo N is tuned in on YouTube. She's saying, hello, friends. Greetings from the West Coast. Thank you so much for tuning in. And then Apa Slayer and Auliza, can you touch a bit on how you handle the bullying as parents, and also how did the school handle it? We're going to get to that part. We're going to be discussing bullying extensively, because that's one issue that came out that a lot of parents are very blind to. And then Arthur Cheng anasema good job. And Slay says the sound is actually perfect today. Nice to hear that.
I'm shocked.
Yes. Now I want to come back to you, Nginda, again on another issue that came up during the interview with Rehema, and this is on language dynamics. Rehema said that she was actually expressing regret and embarrassment on not being able to speak Kiswahili. She also said that she can pick up some Kikuyu, but still cannot speak it fluently. Now, maybe you can start by telling us, what language do the two of you speak at home when you're on a date, when you're just the two of you without the kids? What language do you guys speak to each other?
You better not lie.
Did you say a date?
A date?
You know how long we've been married?
No, but Kwani people don't go on dates after they are married for...
Which dates? Like,
Haya.
Geda, let's pass by Starbucks.
No,
Watch the story.
Yes,
You're spoiling Gofu's name in front of you. Oh, mulikuja in separate cars.
He's the chauffeur.
I was driving.
So
Anyway.
akupeleke kama Ruth and Chris hivi nini places
Gofu,
like that.
what
Separate
Gofu, where
address.
is Ruth and Chris? Niambie.
I take it out to Italy.
Hiyo hapo I think
No,
tutafanya
lakini you
nyuma ya
guys
tent.
have been doing trips to Europe.
Yes.
I mean, Ruth and Chris
So exactly,
in Europe is as
Yeah,
good
yeah,
as,
there you go.
you know.
I see
think-
what you got your boy. I see what you do.
No.
Yeah.
We are just minding our own business. Then we see people in Greece. Then we see them in Italy. Then sijui wako, sijui Turin, sijui wako ahi.
Okay.
Yeah, so our primary language at home
Yeah.
is, it depends. I feel like it's a mix. It's 50.
No, just when you're the two
50.
of you, to take the kids away, just the two
Yeah,
of you.
the two of us. It's still
Yeah.
a mix. It's a
Yeah.
fair balance. 50% Kikuyu. I'm Kikuyu. Like you said, you're Maasai. Well, you're not, but anyway.
Wow.
Okay,
But I'm
that's
Kikuyu,
okay.
so by default,
Yeah.
Kikuyu is my primary language.
Okay.
Especially when we are home. I have a big family here. I have my sisters, one boy, one Jiro. All these people that surround me, we tend to speak a lot of Kikuyu. But even with Gofu, wouldn't you agree 50-50?
Yeah, I
Kikuyu,
mean,
English.
Kikuyu and English.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
I
does
mean-
Gofu know Kikuyu? I'm just asking because his cousin one Mike. Sorry.
Oh,
Go on.
Anyway,
So 50-50. So that means Kiswahili doesn't feature.
I don't even know Swahili. You know, I will say that and people on Facebook and YouTube are gonna literally swallow me alive, but I don't know Swahili.
But when you say you don't know Swahili, you mean you did not attend a Kenyan education system.
I did. I actually went to one of the prestigious girls' schools in
Okay.
Kenya.
And they
Kauhia
did,
girls,
and they
to
didn't
be
do Kiswahili.
precise.
Oh, not
We
Ghana.
were taught Swahili, but
Yeah.
you have to understand, I am from Muranga. I grew up in the village. I'm a very proud village girl. I went from standard 1 to grade 8, I went to a village school. So it was primarily Kikuyu. That's our language. That's our mother tongue.
But they taught Swahili.
No,
in
they
that
taught
school.
they taught Swahili in Kikuyu.
They didn't really teach the Swahili that people speak, the Swahili
It's the
sanifu.
shame.
I
Okay.
know, like, nipatie maji.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really gossip about me. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But then also, we both came here when we were very young.
Okay.
Like I was 19.
Okay.
And I kind of stopped speaking Swahili then.
Okay.
So I don't know Swahili. I don't
Okay.
speak Swahili at home.
So if you had to save your life, and you had to speak Swahili for 30 minutes continuously
She'd be dead.
about your business, you want to present about your business and talk to us about your business, and if we don't do that, we kill you. So you would be dead.
She'd be dead. Mashakura ilikuwa hivyo
Ah.
na
At
halafu.
least you do the best you can.
I think Gofu would come in and
Yeah,
rescue
yeah.
me,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, he
most
would.
Okay, so fair enough. So when the two of you are talking, it's 50-50
Yeah.
English
Yes.
and Kiswahili. So
Kikuyu.
what about English and Kikuyu, sorry. So what language did you start speaking to your kids when he could start speaking? What was the first language that I'll start with you and then we're gonna come to Baba Rehema.
Again, I want to say the same, 50-50, Kikuyu and English. As a matter of fact, Isaac, and I actually told him that the other day, until he went to college, he literally could understand anything you say to him in Kikuyu. He understood everything.
Okay.
And then he went to college and kind of didn't he's not home all the time, so he has forgotten a lot of Kikuyu. But we introduce them to Kikuyu and English.
Okay, Kikuyu and English. So, Baba Hanya, was there any was this consciously in your mind? Like go back to when maybe Isaac was 1 or 2 years old, and by the time you gave birth, by the time Gina gave birth to Rehema, was this something that was consciously in your mind that I want my children to be able to speak Kikuyu?
No, I mean, I think, when you come here,
Yeah.
we are so caught up. We are so caught up, and
Yeah.
we don't really realize sometimes the impact. I was so surprised when my daughter was saying that the language issue is
Yeah.
a big issue.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you meet with your family members, we are talking, we are we are just being ourselves,
Yeah.
and the kids are around us. So it was for me, it was a moment.
So you didn't realize
I
that
did
that
not-
was important
right,
to
right.
them.
But as they get older,
Yeah.
then you start, when they're little, like, they're not talking.
Yeah.
So you're okay. You can speak Swahili, Kikuyu, your native language. But as they get older, now you start realizing the gap.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes a lot of us, we're just comfortable with our culture.
Yeah.
And we subconsciously neglect the kids. A lot of African parents don't do it intentionally. We just busy with
It
our
just
lives.
happens.
We
Yeah.
are going to work. We are moving on. We are doing our thing.
Yeah.
But the kids are here. So is a tricky balance.
Okay.
Very tricky.
Let me say this. At some point, when we were a small hegemony, even amongst our friends, these two were the first to really establish, they have a relationship, they're getting a family.
Yeah.
Even the baby shower, what we call them baby shower, because you're fascinated.
Yeah.
Because we were in our mid-20s.
Yeah. Living
The baby
life.
shower was the highlight.
Yeah.
Geda, it's okay. I understand.
Actually, early 20s, not mid.
Early 20s.
Early
Yeah,
20s.
very
Oh,
young.
so they
So
started
We were
early.
very, very
Yeah,
young.
So they knew what they wanted
In
in
fact,
life.
the baby shower was
When-
2 days.
when I say me, I mean, so early 20s, mid 20s.
It is
But
early
it was a huge thing.
Yeah.
We're like, guy, and si wameamua yani watapata watoi.
Mm-hmm.
You see, at that point in time, you're not thinking
Mm-hmm.
ati
The
watoi wakigrow,
language, yeah.
thinking language or
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, it wasn't something
Yeah.
conscious.
No.
My challenges are,
Yeah.
hey, I don't have my mother here. Hatuna ndacha mtoto nani. No, you're thinking now, not, I'm going to say daycare, babysitting. How are you going to coordinate this? How are you going to restructure? Because now, when the baby is coming, you have to restructure your life.
Yes.
Back then, I'm talking
Right.
about back then. We're talking about
Yeah.
2001
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
when Kenya was born. He was born, but in 2000. So you're thinking and restructuring.
2001.
2001.
Yeah.
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 He was born in February, so 2000.
So-
Okay,
Okay.
can you
No
two
one
can you
help
two
me.
fight outside?
So anyway, that's my sister. Anyway, so the what you're thinking about at that point in time is, okay, how are we gonna coordinate this? Because you're not really formally you have jobo nzuri.
Yeah.
You're just hustling. You're coming in. You're trying to get your feet wet. You're trying to understand the system. You're dealing with my
Also,
challenges.
you were in
So,
school. We
you're
were
in school.
We
So-
were both
and then on top of
college
that, you're in school.
students,
Yeah.
full-time job, full-time parenting.
Yes.
So you're not really thinking, the priority was never the language.
It's never one of
fair
those.
enough. Oh,
It's
fair
not.
enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Language
Yeah.
that language now becomes
When they're old.
when they're older,
Secondary, yeah.
when they are now,
Yeah.
when Kihanya is about 11, 12, 13.
And he's sitting there with
He's
you
sitting
guys.
there with,
and you realize, okay, the kid is not participating.
Yeah.
And I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
When you're having a child at age 19, 20, 21, the priority, of course, at that point, you're thinking there's very important things you're thinking about. You're not thinking of what language will this kid speak.
Right.
And even back home subconsciously, that's not something parents used to think about, because a kid would just automatically speak the language that the people around him
Are speaking.
Are speaking.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that it wasn't a thing that was there that we need to think about this.
Exactly.
This is something that came up later because at that particular time also the Kenyan population was still smaller. We did not have a big population of kids who are born and grown up here. Later on is when people started seeing, like kids who are born and grown up here are not speaking the language. Then some other parents came up with the idea of maybe I should start teaching my child because it was a learning curve at that particular time. So it wasn't actually quite a big priority. But it's very interesting when we're having conversations with Rehema and Jide. I was surprised, that they were actually interested, like they're saying going back, they wish they had learned more of their language because my thinking when I came here and I saw a lot of kids who've grown up here not necessarily speaking Swahili or any of their mother tongue, my thinking was that they're American, they're not interested, they're just happy to be speaking English. But it's very interesting when they come and tell you that they actually had an interest and have an interest in wanting to know that language. And I think these things come up as they grow up and as they get to interact with more kids. They go to college, they meet kids who are speaking
both languages,
different languages.
Yeah.
Because at that point
Yeah.
in time, when when like I said, when you're trying to sort out, let's say for example, who's gonna Gofu, do you have time? Are you working today? I need Kenya to be picked up, or I need to be Rehema to be picked up, or I need somebody to be taken somewhere or whatever. At that juncture, at that point in time, the farthest thing from your mind is language.
I know, and
Yeah.
No,
fair
I
enough.
get it.
Yeah, fair enough.
And also at that point in time, like I said, they were not the only ones, but they were among the very few, and I'll count them in one hand, who've got a child.
Yeah.
So even me at 25, I'm an uncle, but I'm like, Allah, wait a minute, what in the hell am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Yeah.
And those are the challenges. And now, imagine now you've been ushered in that. Mom is not here. The village is not here. Her folks are not here. How do you manage these challenges? And most of the guys that you're hanging out with, ni wasewa kadunda.
Right.
Mtoye mekam.
Yeah.
How are you now going to adjust your life to go and hang out? So Gofu decides, let me go Kadunda to DC. And Arudi 5 a.m. Geda has been up all night with I love saying the domestics. And those are the challenges.
Yeah.
And those are the things that we are getting.
One mic, you learn rather quickly that you have to adapt.
Yes,
So
that's what I'm
now
saying.
you're a young parent. The other people surrounding you, they're all single young women. For me, in my case, they don't have kids. They're not the ones that I'm gonna call and say, hey, I'm so and so, come babysit for me, because they have no idea how to babysit. They don't know the challenges you're going through.
Wow, that is so interesting.
Yes.
Exactly. So you learn to find your own support, your little village. You create your little village. Like when Kehanya and even Rehema to an extent, when they were little, we had our own little village with someone like Stella.
Stella Marin, yes.
Yeah, Kenya's mom, because
Goyo.
Stella had a little girl who was
Alice.
Kehanya's age. And so that was what we did. We had to learn quickly. Let's create our own little village where we can all help one another, go to school, babysit each other's kids, work doubles. And mind you, even then, at the back of our mind, we were still trying to buy these, brothy.
Yeah, and by the way, before Kenya was born, let me tell you, my brother here was seeing dust. Because this woman just used to crunch ice from Royal Family.
But there's something else I need to point out.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, okay, you have people who are helping you
Yeah.
to raise your child. As young parents, you also have to sit down and structure your life. Because, as I said, parenting is fun, but you also have challenges. A lot of us, when we came here, we were young. There were not many. And also there was no networking, no social media, no cell phones.
Yes.
Believe that there were no cell phones.
No, there were no cell phones.
Yes.
Oh, damn.
No, there were no cell phones.
No cell phones.
Just landlines.
By the time I came to State Road, there were already cell
There were
phones.
pages
When
and
did you
beepers.
come?
It sounds.
I came in 2003.
Oh,
Okay,
well,
yeah.
It sounds like
Pages and beepers.
Late 90s, there were no service in America.
Oh,
Believe
damn.
that.
Okay.
In the US. So, for me to tell him that he need to come to my house, Either I call his house, page him, or drive there.
Wow. Okay.
That's in America. I'm talking
Yeah.
about late 90s.
Yeah.
So, it's,
and early 2000s.
yeah, looking
Yeah.
at looking at
Yeah.
how things are now compared to then is totally different because even a child have access to social media.
Yes.
So I know we're going to talk about bullying, but just to say, the information system, how information is being delivered now, is also helping the kids to know things. Most kids also didn't know that bullying was not okay.
Yeah.
Now they can read and their own and
They can understand.
Yeah.
understand things.
Okay. These are actually very good perspectives that you're bringing because sometimes looking from the outside, it's easy to judge and it's easy to say
Oh, it is.
X, Y, Z, and that's why it's good to have these conversations for people
Right.
to understand this is where things were at that particular time,
Right.
Yeah.
and the priorities were very different. A very interesting question coming from Annette Karanja. Annette Karanja, one of the cohorts of kids who were raised out here in Baltimore. Annette says, "Hey friends, can we address using Swahili Kikuyu as a secret language to discuss things without the kids understanding? Was that a factor for this family?" So, Annette, Nginda, let me come to you.
It was. I will say I was there. I'm guilty. I'm guilty. You're sorry. Get that.
Let Nginda speak for herself.
Well, Annette, kwani you wanna air our dirty laundry out there? But yes, to answer you, I think that to an extent, that's why immigrant parents like to keep one language to themselves. Let's say I want to tell Gofu something, and I don't want the kids to know because it's really something that's not okay for them to hear. Then I might switch and speak in my language, knowing very well that they will not comprehend what I just told their dad. And vice versa, he would do the same thing. So yes, that is true.
And to add on that,
Yes.
the kids can pick it. Sometimes the kid will see it and they'll be like, I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And they get upset.
Yeah, and you know what Rehema said was quite interesting. He was like, if she could go back, she'd tell you guys that you're better off speaking to each other in Swahili, which is the language that she never understood, than Kikuyu. You guys used to do it in Kikuyu,
Yes.
And
and
she
she
kind of
can hear.
understood it,
She
yes.
kind of understood everything
Yes.
that you guys were
That
talking
is
about.
so
Yes, it
true.
does.
Yeah.
We hear that a lot from Rehema and Kehanya. They always say, "I already know what you told dad," and or like Kehanya will be like, "Mom, I already know what you just told dad."
But you can speak Swahili, she don't know.
Is it that she doesn't know, or,
She don't-
or she's not
ask-
comfortable speaking?
Hawezi
Ask him.
nyita.
Ask him.
Hawezi
He might about
nyita.
it. I don't
Yeah.
know. I really don't.
I think it's more of discomfort because I
Yeah.
mean, if you've lived in Kenya,
She does
umesoma
speak.
mpaka form 4, at least you'll be able to hear. If we sit
No,
here
she does
speaking
speak
Swa,
it. She just
you'll be able. Yeah.
Maybe it's
I
comfort.
understand.
Yeah.
I completely understand. I can speak a little Swahili. What I'm trying to say is I can't really have a fluent conversation in Swahili.
Okay.
Practice makes perfect.
Okay. Practice.
See,
We're gonna start
Ujaribu tu
practicing.
kidogo.
Kujaribu
Or you want me
tu.
to switch
Yeah.
to my
We are
Pwani
gonna start
accent?
practicing. Then the next
Yeah.
episode, we are gonna do it in
but
Kiswahili.
I don't even find it essential though. Who do I need to speak fluently in
now,
Swahili?
that's where
it's not essential for me.
That's where we'll disagree.
Hapo
Yeah,
ndio pale
I-
kuna
That's why we
changamoto.
disagree.
I know
Yes.
we will,
Yeah.
Ali. I know.
And I'll
Yeah.
say it's a very essential language, especially I think for kids who are growing up in the diaspora. If you're trying to connect them to an African language, they are more likely to get into contact with people who speak Kiswahili than they are to get into contact with people who are speaking, like
French.
no, not necessarily French, but the ethnic language, the ethnic language that you're speaking, meaning that with Swahili, there are Kenyans, there are Tanzanians, there are people from Congo, like they have better chances of being out there and practicing it.
I get it, and
Yeah.
I acknowledge that, but I think for me, I think the most important thing was for us to make sure that the kids, especially the older two, and now Zoe, the Rehema Kihanya, they know the importance of embracing both cultures.
Yeah.
Because for me, which might come as a surprise, for me, I have always said to my kids, you're American first. Because they're Americans and they're secondarily Kenyans.
Yeah.
So they have to be able to embrace both cultures. They have to be able to say to their fellow, if they meet somebody new, somebody might say, where are you guys from? They will say, yeah, my parents are from Kenya.
Yeah.
That's what our kids say. They don't say, I'm Kenyan. they say our parents are from Kenya.
Okay.
That's not just Kihanya or Rehema. That's universally all the kids I've ever met, interacted with. In my house, we always have a lot of kids from Nigeria, and other countries. I will say, where are you guys from? And they always say, oh, my mom or my parents are from Nigeria. My parents are from Jamaica. I never hear them say, hey, I am from Jamaica.
Yeah, but here's a challenge, that I would give to parents and maybe prospective parents. I think, what sometimes might be missing is sometimes maybe parents don't know the method that needs to be used. If of course you have intent, because the most important thing is a parent has to have intent that I want my child to grow up understanding this language. If the intent is there, there's a method. The people who have it the easiest are parents, of course, who can't speak English. That's why you see, like in Spanish families, because the parents already cannot speak English. So automatically the kids will grow up understanding Spanish because that's the only language that the parents can communicate with them in. So now we are not in that situation, because with Kenyans, most Kenyans, like all Kenyans who come here pretty much are very fluent English speakers. But then there is a method of doing this. It has to be very deliberate, and as I say sometimes, this is a privilege, because of course if you're in that situation where you're in your early 20s, there are so many other priorities you have. There's no time to focus on whether my child is understanding this language. There's a tried and tested method, and I know this from within our extended family. Most of our kids who are born here, they've ended up speaking Swahili apart from one or two, and we know exactly what happened. So we have a control experiment of what wasn't done and why this one or two can only understand, but they cannot necessarily articulate it. And I've said that's one of the things that I want to do. I want to write a small pamphlet. It's a very simple process. As long as you respect that process, you follow that process, your child will understand the language. And once your child understands the language, when your child is the youngest, that's the easiest time to train them in a language. There's usually a worry that, oh my goodness, if I start early, when they go to school, they may lag behind on English. That is not true.
Yeah, that's not true.
That's not true.
Kids will pick any language.
They will pick up the language,
But I want to say it also has to be the parents' priority.
Yes.
I don't necessarily feel that as Gofu's household, our priority is the kids learning Swahili. It's good if they knew Swahili, but it's not a priority for me, for Gofu.
But I'm saying not necessarily Swahili. I'm just saying any language that you want your kids to learn, even if it's
any language. I agree. I just want to say, I really feel like the number one goal, raising children can be very challenging. Parenthood does not come with a manual.
No, it doesn't.
All these things that you read out there, have them download Duolingo. Is it called Duolingo?
That one, Duolingo.
Duolingo.
Yeah, and those,
and pay for all these apps.
Yeah.
They really don't work.
Those
what
don't
is
work.
the priority for my children might not be the priority for someone else.
Absolutely.
Like, if you tell me Swahili is a priority in your household, I respect that.
Yeah.
For me, in my household, as long as they can speak with my mother and my mother-in-laws and other older people around them and be able to say hi and borrow water or food in any language, I'm happy.
But the reason why I bring it up is because they're the ones who brought it up.
And I challenge Rehema.
They're the ones who brought it up.
And I challenge my daughter who's tuned in.
I was also in this school.
I know.
They don't care about it.
Okay.
But
and I know they
care,
care, but I've challenged Rehema who's tuned in and Kihanya.
Oh, by the way, she said
my own brother learned Dutch when he was in his 40s. Well, 40s or 30s.
50.
Not 50.
35.
Where?
Maybe he was 35. He
Leave
had to
my
move
brother
to another
Kimadu from out
country
of this.
and had to learn their language. So I always challenge my kids and say, if you truly want to learn Swahili or French or Italian, you can do it.
By the way,
They are in the best country on earth
Rehema
with
is
all
saying
the resources.
whenever you guys are speaking, when you're code switching, Rehema is saying, yes, we always knew.
Well, Ali, I wanted to
Yes,
say something.
Rehema.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think also the culture, when we come here, we were brought up in a certain way. So when we come here and we are young parents, we want to bring our kids, but we think about how we were brought up, how we were brought up. So it turns out sometimes you're thinking about your parents. How was I brought up?
Yeah.
Here, but you're brought up in another country, in a complete different culture.
Yes.
And it just turns out sometimes I'm thinking about my parents. How was I brought up? And I'm trying to
Copy paste. And it sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. As my wife said, children are different. My kids have different personalities. Every child is different.
Yeah.
How you brought up one child is not the exact same way you're gonna.
And that, by the way, that is standard.
Standard, right?
That is standard.
That's true.
Right.
How Aiden was is different from Jerry,
Right.
Yeah.
different from Nemo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's almost when you come here, you have to really think, what does an American child want?
What are their needs?
What are their needs?
Yeah.
Because we are not in Kenya.
No, and
Yeah.
you cannot enforce. I've seen this thing where parents try to enforce our standards, but you can offer. In my wife and me and my wife, we talk about this. We have given our kids all the tools. Where we come from, our culture, language, food, music. We can only teach them. I cannot force them to be. Remember, 80% of their time they are where?
They're in school.
I'm wondering with my children, very few. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's almost. And there's another thing. Our children sometimes feel like when we say they need to be African, it's like you are telling them, is their American side not good enough?
Yeah.
It's a very tricky balance.
Yeah.
I've talked to some kids and they tell me, hey, when you guys say that, we need to run Kikuyu, we need to know Mugithi, we need to eat Mukimo, sijui nyama choma. It's all good, but what about our burgers?
Yeah.
You see? So you have to balance, and it's a very tricky balance.
And to buttress his point, it's one of those. You learn again. It's a learning process as you grow, because it's a learning curve, because you start seeing as the kids grow, they start getting their own personalities. You look at Kehanya, you're like, okay. When you look at Rehema, you're like, these two are different. Okay, right. This one doesn't like this one likes this. It's a matter of adjusting.
Right.
Yeah.
And then also, again, you can't bring back, like now, for example, there's a time, my brother over here, I don't know what he had done. And then the father is coming from wherever he's coming. This guy, hajafungulia, he has not fed the cows.
Ass whipping.
Kiboko. Yeah.
Now try that.
You can't come and say you haven't done your dishes. You can't. You have your chores. And that is the huge adjustment that is done, especially like being parents at early 20s, as I was corrected over here, early 20s. That is a huge adjustment you have to make as a young parent.
Right.
Forget now. Right now. And there are people coming in right now who are going to be young parents. They haven't had that experience, but we don't know what the experiences were, what was passed on to them. But for us, we went with what we had seen.
Okay.
But unfortunately, what we were going with in this land right here, there are different rules and regulations. So you have to adjust to that.
Yeah, you have to adjust.
Yeah.
You have to adjust to the system that we're living in here. So like some very good points on YouTube. I can see Annette was telling us, I know in Kenya there's help teaching language from family and neighbors. I have family that speak other languages beyond our Kyuk because of having a Luya neighbor or a Kamba relative, etc. And then Mburu Awairimo says, I didn't know that Nginda and Swa is a no-no. From today, I will be talking Swa to her. I'm a good teacher. All right, that's from Mburu on YouTube. And then I want to remind the listeners that you can call in at 202-683-4570. Press *5 to speak. If you have any questions, if you have anything you want to tell Ngenda and Lawrence, they're here in the studio. They'll answer your questions. I want to remind the listeners also that tonight's show is brought to you courtesy of money transfer app Lemfi. The OneMicShow is offering $30 for the first $100 sent on your first transaction using the code OneMic. click on the link pinned in the comments and feel free to share and type downloaded. Now, have the two of you downloaded this app? I am not sure.
I don't even think they know about it. Look at
Yes, so we are going
look at
to
Baba Hanya's face.
we will confiscate their phones after the show and make sure this is downloaded. And I blame OneMic for the two of you not downloading, but that's a story. You're behind the tent.
Yes.
Tutazungumza baadaye.
Actually,
Yes,
they do
yes.
have at this point. They have the best rate right now. To be
Yes.
honest, yes,
They have the best rate.
What is it?
They are
I think it's 128, 128
yes.
and something.
128
yeah,
point something,
128,
yes.
128 point something.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yes.
That's good.
So and we're giving a free $30. Do you know what $30 can do?
Yes.
that you can add towards Bloti Maguta.
There you go.
yeah,
There
yeah,
you go.
yeah,
This is
Mama, yani
very-
hii mambo ya
Yeah.
kaproti.
very,
The way
very
we've
easy.
been telling people hii mambo ya kaproti is not
Very easy.
I know you guys are against
That's what she's saying.
all that stuff,
We're
investing in Kenya, but
we're-
that's another topic for another day.
By the way, we are not against investing in Kenya. We are not against
just do your
investing
due
in Kenya.
diligence at home.
We're only against having idle wealth. Like unanunua shamba unasema ati itakaa 5 years from now it will double in price ama 10 years from
But
now.
that's what people in Moranga do.
That's what we do where
Yeah.
we come from, and actually it does double. But again, I want to come back for that specific topic
we're gonna
because
talk
I
about
think you
that.
guys are misleading a lot of people about these plots in Kenya, investments in Kenya. Kenya is where we are moving to.
we are not- we are-
Kenya
we
is
is
where
who?
we are headed.
So-
Who is we?
No.
Ali has moved away.
So when it comes
Ali,
to
Ali moved to where?
when-
He's here.
when it
Get
comes
us back.
when
I
it
think that's
comes
a topic for another.
no when it comes to plotties, me I show numbers. I don't just talk.
So we'll do that.
I show
we'll do
numbers.
That. I'll bring
and,
my
and
numbers.
those numbers
Yes.
they get people uncomfortable.
But,
Because numbers.
Ali, you know the
Yeah.
problem with Geda is that
Yeah.
she's somebody who invested kitambo.
Yeah.
Hiyo ndio problem yake. Anunui siku hizi.
Yeah.
Unajua watu wa kitambo na watu wa sahi, there's
Yeah.
actually a
Right.
difference
There's a
in the
difference.
I was
Kenyan
about to
market.
say that. I was about
Yeah.
to
There's
say
a
that.
huge difference. Trust me.
Right.
Yeah.
And by kitambo is like say 2005 to like 2015.
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody who comes now after that, it becomes shaky.
We will do those numbers from
I'm telling you.
2005. We will do
I'm
those
telling
numbers.
you the numbers.
Numbers too.
Numbers.
we'll
run
Even
the
I
numbers.
can tell you numbers.
We'll run the
I
numbers.
can tell you numbers.
So-
I can even give you bank statements.
You have a good point.
So
by the way.
because remember 2005 dollar ilikuwa shilingi 60. But we'll talk
Yes,
about that later.
It's
Yeah.
very fine.
So I want us to go to the US schooling system so we don't get lost here.
Oh
in
no!
Maguta.
Before you do that, somebody's asking here. Can we find out how this couple met first,
Higher.
and why are they not calling each other babe and honey?
Ay,
Carry on.
Who
No,
is
carry on.
that?
Carry on.
Who
Carry
is
on.
that?
Carry on.
Hiyo
Let
hapo.
me first tell us who that is.
No.
Ini-
That's
Anonymous.
Anonymous.
In the inbox. In the
Anonymous.
inbox.
That is anonymous.
We mwambie huyo anonymous akuja ulize swali hapo.
They can
Piga
call it.
simu.
Yes,
202.
Ama apige
yes,
simu.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Hii mambo ya anonymous hatutaki.
We
Piga simu
Kamau,
hapo.
Kamau, piga
Yeah.
simu.
If
I haven't said the
anonymous-
last name.
Or Kamau is a generic name.
It's a generic name.
It's like John Doe.
Here.
No,
Ah,
it's
okay.
Kizito.
Ah,
Kizito
okay.
was a
Kizito
banga.
Kizito
was a banga.
Yes, Kizito has changed his name.
Okay.